All right, so the session is now being recorded. Welcome everyone, and thank you all for showing up on this wonderful Sunday. I greatly appreciate you. My name is Aaron Turley. We're in compliance. Everybody has their cameras on. I'll be serving as the group lead. I'm also reading my wonderful script as well. So if I veer off, I'll get right back on task. So let me see. We're going to walk through some of the guiding prompts, share our experiences, and support each other's growth. And everyone will have a chance to contribute. So if you all want me to, I can put so I broke it down into like four cycles. So cycle one, the questions are why did you select the curriculum or units you're teaching right now? Which standards or frameworks guide your choices? How does your curriculum address student needs? And the fourth question is what unit has connected most with your students? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my best to drop that in the chat so you'll have that readily available for you. And then again, we're also recording as well. So if you need to look back at it, you'll have that as well. Now, the help I'm going to, oh, all right, there's Mr. Wren. All right. So we got everybody here. Awesome. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
We're
Let's see.
doing well, doing well, doing well.
I think we're good.
Well, you know what, guys? I think before we start, let's do our introduction. I'm Aaron Turley. I teach in Rockdale County High School in Conyers, Georgia, and then we'll just do introductions. And whoever wants to chime in next, you're more than welcome to go ahead.
I'm
Oh,
Tiffin Townsley, and I'm in Kennesaw at Northwest Classical Academy.
I'm Lucas Turner. I'm in Cairo, Georgia at Washington Middle School.
Let's see. Can y'all see my face? I don't know if I'm doing it right.
I
No,
can't.
sir.
You can't. Okay.
It has your name. There you are.
Ah, there we go. Just need to just share the video. I'm Tyler Ryan. I teach out of Noonan, Georgia, Cowardly County. I teach elementary PE. Let's see.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, guys, I have good news. I've located the chat. So, all right. So, Mr. Wren, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna run this like in a cycle format. There are like four guided questions for each one of the cycle formats. Anybody can chime in at any particular time. And what I'm gonna do is upload those questions just in the chat so everybody will be able to see. If you could just let me know if you see those in the chat.
Yes, I do.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Yes. Good.
All right. So I guess I'll start with I'll get the ball rolling. Why did I select these curriculum units? So right now I'm in team sports and I've adopted a fitness fusion unit as well. The purpose for that is I want to build confidence and competence and foundation skills, support student engagement through teamwork and leadership, and it fits well with my large class sizes and limited space. Additionally, one of the main focuses was to be able to put in the SEL and the life skills in relevant ways. I focused on standards one and three. They align well with the team sports, basketball and volleyball. And the standard three aligns with my fitness fusion unit for conditioning, personal fitness, and planning. My main focus, why those standards, was skill development, movement competency for one. And standard three was the lifelong fitness, the health literacy, and self monitoring. Um, some of the frameworks that from the readings were meaningful PE, the WISC model, plus the SEL integration, utilizing backward design, and clear learning targets for success criteria. So I don't know. What do you all think? How do you all want to do? You just want to talk freely or
I guess we can just talk freely. I guess go over each question.
Yeah.
okay, cool. All right.
Y'all cool with that?
Yeah, that's great.
All right. So while you all are talking, I'll upload the other questions, so we'll be ready to go. So whoever wants to go next, you are more than welcome.
I guess I'll go first. So right now we're working with long handle implements. And what I try to do is only get kids for 9 weeks a year most of the time. Some I don't get at all. Some I'll have more than once. So I've tried to set it up where, if I get this student one time in sixth grade, if I get them the next time in seventh grade, that I can build on what we're doing. So I've focused on standards 1.1 and 2 and 3 and 4, those ones where trying to just expose them to a variety of things, except that I don't know when I'm going to get them. So I have to have some kind of a system. So I've tried to do, you know, invasion games in 1 year, and then the next year move to net wall games, and the next year more focused on just general fitness. So right now we're working with long handled implements and those types of games where we're mainly, I can relate it to different things, tennis or fishing or baseball or softball or, some kind of other long handled field hockey, things like that. And then work through one different sport every 9 weeks, basically, because I don't want to do the same thing every 9 weeks, but I don't know who I'm going to get every 9 weeks. I might have the same person 9 weeks in a row. I might not have a student at all that year. So it's just hard to tell. There's really no rhyme or reason right now of who I'm going to get and when I'm going to get them.
Wow, that's challenging for planning.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes, like I said, I'll get some kids that I might have them 2 or 3 times that year. Just sometimes the students, they don't have anywhere else to put, or the ones that are a problem in a different classroom setting, they kind of get thrown on us. So it is hard to keep it fresh, but also cover the content, without trying to repeat stuff.
Mm-hmm. The curriculum, I'm at a classical academy and I teach grades 3 through 6, sort of the PE department head, just because they needed to nominate someone. And so I'm kind of watching what's going on over the whole thing. So for me, the reason that I chose my curriculum, a lot of it has to do with the space, the time that I have. My environment really dictates a lot. I have half of the gym, and there's another class going on the other side that, I might be teaching sixth grade and have kindergarten on the other side, or ninth grade. I don't know. So that dictates what equipment, how we rotate equipment, the type of space that I can use for different activities, and what I play when the kindergartners are out there. I have to sort of have a little bit of have some different boundaries for safety reasons. I'm very much into skill development, and so skill development is a lot of what guides my decision making with this group. So we're kind of trying to be a bridge between, the spatial awareness, skill development of K1 and 2, and we're a classical school. So it goes 7 to 9 would be the start of the upper school. So I kind of have to choose my curriculum in a way that it has a blend from one to the other, that by the sixth grade, they're looking a lot like what the middle school would look like. I really like the Georgia State Standards 1, 2, and 3 that demonstrates competency in motor skills and movement patterns. The applies knowledge and of movement concepts, principles, and strategies, tactics. I think the third one is the demonstrates knowledge and skills to achieve and maintain a health-enhancing level of physical activity. Those guide, I do a unit, I guess you could say, of throwing and catching is a lot of what I do in the first semester. And then I go to more striking skills, which might be long-handled implements or short, or soccer, that type of stuff. But I always have a unit of fitness and health that's kind of running during the opening part of my classes. And so it says, what unit has connected most with your students this semester? They have loved the fitness unit. I started out with a very fast and furious fitness assessment at the beginning, and I revamped it, streamlined it, really condensed it into some very simple things. And they've really jumped on to this unit and have a lot of questions. So it's been exciting to see their progress, to talk to them about those achievements.
Cool, cool. So I have one question. So you have to prepare for like the varying age grade, like kindergarten and sixth grade in the gym at the same time?
Yeah, we try to work together on that, and then sometimes they move the kindergarten to another like cafeteria area. But if you're teaching soccer when the little ones are doing like gymnastics, you could end up with a ball flying over onto their mats, and so taking out a kindergartner. So we try to really balance even things like that.
Wow, that's tough. All right, Mr. Red.
So right now I am doing a striking unit with my kiddos, and I start out with the younger kids. So I teach kindergarten through fifth grade, and so with K2, and I split it up K2, and then I do 3-5, and I am using balloons for the younger kids. So just getting the feel of their hands and how to underhand strike and overhand strike. And then when the older kids, we're playing games and we're using the lollipop paddles. Let's see. But so I teach at a low income PBIS school, and we have a lot of behavior issues. And so we used to have 4 specials because there's 4 teachers for each grade. But so this is my second year, and they changed it last year, my first year. They changed it. We only have 3 specials, so they give me an extra class. So I have that. So I have 2 classes at a time, while the other specials have 1, and it could be a lot. It's harder with limited equipment and not enough money to buy new equipment. We have like $100, so it can be really challenging. And I'm still learning, like being, my second year. So every day can be a struggle. But I enjoy it. These kids, they need more love than, other schools.
Oh, yeah, and I'm already thinking of the lollipop paddles. My kids love the lollipop paddles.
Yes, they do. They do. Even at high school, it's crazy. It's
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, we,
um,
we play a really cool game. It's called Birdie Battle.
Birdie bed. I haven't
And
heard that one.
yeah, so it's like, you split the gym and everybody has a lollipop paddle. And, since I have more kids, I have like 40 kids, like 20 paddles, so we switch out, right? But using little birdies, right? And, they're striking it and they're trying to hit it to the other side and like land on a poly spot or in a hula hoop. So they really enjoy that. But it's crazy because a lot of these kids, they have never, learned the skill of striking before. So they're struggling like really bad. So sometimes I'm like, all right, just pick up a birdie. It doesn't matter where it goes. Let's just work on that. Let's just get our form and our technique first because it's interesting to see.
so I heard you say PBIS. So just a question, because PBIS is PBIS. Do you find you have less behavioral issues when the kids are with you?
I feel like there's more behavior issues in PE just because there's a lot going on. And I'm still learning how to, limit those fights or arguments. A lot better this year, for sure. Our older kids, we've learned that. It's really tough because, most of the kids that we get, they come from other schools and it just so
Mm.
happens, they have behavior issues. So that can be really tough to adjusting to a new school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. All right, guys. Is everybody okay with cycle one and moving on to cycle two? We're about at our halfway mark. Um, and I put those questions in. Does anybody want to start that one or how you want to go?
Let's see. I'll go ahead and start. I was thinking about this. Like one thing I would change. So I feel like this is what I do. I do a month out my lesson plans at a time. And I was learning when I was doing like the scope and sequence for the last assignment or the assignment that's due tonight. Like doing lesson plans for like a couple years out. So that's something I want to change. I feel like, or at least a year out. But I can sit there and change it. And so I feel like we all struggle with this, but we'll do a lesson and we won't write any notes or comments because we're too focused on teaching. And I just need to sit there and write those comments, those notes down so I can come back because we play so many games a year and it's hard, when I play the game again, I'm like, oh, how did I do this? And I forget. So I need to document um, those issues or what I would change. And, we have technology. So I use Google Slides for my lesson plans. And in the notes section, that's where my lesson plan is. And it has all the standards and equipment and what I'm doing. And let's see. And I learned that if you do GIFs, so you can go on your phone and like record a kid doing a skill, and then you can put it into the Google slide so they can see it from that point of view. So I need to get better on the videos because I have like my smart boards and my lesson plans so I can click through the slides. So it makes it easier for me, plus the kids can see it.
So you have the smart board in the class?
I have two on each side. So it is really nice to have those.
Yes.
And I go through I go through my Google Slides, and it helps me and it helps the kids. Especially if it's easy to learn that way. I know I learn better that way.
That's nice. That's nice. All right, who's next?
I'll go next. So for me, this has really been an eye-opening experience, this class especially. I've been teaching for quite a while, but I haven't had any classes, haven't done anything like that in quite a long time. This is my first semester into the program. So I had a class last semester, and then this is my second one. So it's really been eye-opening for me as far as seeing where I could change, and kind of asking myself questions about, what are we doing here versus, what is everybody else doing, and I've never really thought about it because, you're just really kind of in your own bubble, in your own school, and you get kind of in your routine, and that's kind of the way we've been teaching is, we just have not, there's not a lot of accountability, from the administration. We're just kind of left, we get to kind of do what we want to do. So we've just been kind of doing what we want to do, teacher preference and things like that, by trying to find the things that we think are most important, but really like it's our opinion. What do we think is most important? So like Dr. Hydorn has talked about, I'd like to try to focus more on being student-centered and really finding out what we have access to here, because I do live in a rural area. There's not a lot of, Cairo is a Title I school, or Grady County where I live is a Title I school. So we don't have a huge amount of opportunities and resources around. So to try to find out better what they do enjoy doing and making it more relevant to them so that they can go outside of class and try to find something to do that they can keep and stay active. I'd like to try to do that better. I'd like to be more focused on the standards, and really looking at, what is this, is this really being beneficial to what they're going to be able to do later on, and unpack them more and say, if this is not really something that's going to help them be physically literate forever, do we really need to be teaching it? Can we find something else that would be more beneficial to the students, So I thought about that. And I'd like to be in a position, I'm not really in a position to go into more depth and breadth, Like I said, I have students for 9 weeks. So it's just being able to find a way to build on what we're doing while not knowing when I'm going to have that student again. It's been a challenge, and it is a challenge in trying to teach skills and then build on those skills and develop those skills, because I may see a student in sixth grade and I may not see him again until eighth grade. Just don't know.
So I do one question. As far as your framework and your scope and sequence, so you have the freedom to create and implement. And I guess more so I'm talking to your administration. They give you that freedom without any stressors.
Pretty much, yeah. We meet, we have our curriculum days in the beginning, but there's not really a lot of communication throughout the year between the elementary schools and the high schools and the middle schools. It's just really kind of as long as we can justify that we're relating these things to the standards, and when people come in and they observe us or whatever, if what we're doing is relatable to the standards, that's really all that they are concerned with seeing right now. We are kind of, we've read about marginalization, and it does feel that way. Maybe I didn't recognize it as much because it's just kind of the way it is. But now that I've done more reading about it recently, we are kind of marginalized.
Yeah. Yeah. All I can do is laugh because last week, yes, that part. I'm not gonna even go into it. Miss Townsend.
Yeah, Lucas, I was listening to what you're talking about, and I think, that is an experience that's happened in many places where administrators, as long as they're busy, happy, good, like we've learned in this from Plasic's book, so many are content with that, and I think don't know much to even know how to encourage us to do something differently. In that article that said, if you hadn't inherited this, what would you do? I inherited at a school. It's a new charter school. This is its fifth year. And I applied before. I mean, there was a principal and someone else there, but I applied and jumped in. And it was pretty much like they have no idea what to do with PE. And so we can do whatever. And I jumped in to be the head, not because I know anything about being a head, but because I knew what direction I didn't want to go with PE. And someone was going to set that in place. And so I've had to design, from the bottom, any sort of ideas. And it says, what is one thing, I think if I'm reading, what is one thing you change in your curriculum after taking this course? For me, because I'm supposedly guiding, I think instead of each of us individually picking our own standards, how do we pick standards as a department that fit, that we can all build on with each other, instead of these are the standards you really want to focus, these are the ones I want to stand on. Is there a way to have continuity and progression based on our school situation? We have small class sizes, but then we have a small area. So that's one thing I would really like to change, is to make a more unified plan with the curriculum progression. And I think it's specifically for my curriculum directly is to see where I can incorporate student choice more, and see how I can support them in their choices, like give them some boundaries on that, but then say, okay, these are your choices. How can I make that work for you? Let's see, it said number 2, what teaching strategy did you learn that you want to implement? The project-based learning is really what I would like to figure out. I don't want to do all of that, but I would like to implement that maybe for some outdoor recreation. Again, I don't know how we do outdoor recreation, so it's about like really problem solving. Could I do a unit like that? If I did, I would love to try the project-based learning. And could I do project-based learning with cooperative games, a type of unit? That one, I'm very interested in digging into how to make that work for PE. It says, how has this course shifted after you're thinking about how has this course shifted your thinking about curriculum design? It hasn't really shifted my thinking about curriculum design, but that's not less than, I think it's helped really polish a bunch of things where I had a lot of blank spaces. It was like, oh, light bulbs going off, where I knew I had a desire for something, but didn't know what the resources were, didn't know what the research was behind that. And so this has really filled in a lot of gaps that I was trying to get there and couldn't get there. So this has been extremely helpful. If you redesigned a unit today, what would look different? I think considering I do long units, but really considering could I stretch it out a little bit longer? I find with my third and fourth graders, a longer unit is actually great. It seems like it wouldn't be because they don't because of the attention span, but I have shifted it this year to a longer unit and would like to take it longer. I find that the depth and the skill development, like we're unlocking things that we haven't done before. And that's what I would really like to see. Okay, can I take this and make it a little longer, and can we have much more higher depth of mastering competency in these skills?
I definitely, I definitely hear what you're saying as far as that because I know, and I think what I'm hearing is a lot of the key points is that marginalization. I know for me in particular, especially with high school, um, I'm I'm coming up on year 30. So with that being said, I would definitely like to focus more on the standards, the learning targets, and the assessments. The conversation that I'm in with administration now is in order for us to align just as a school, not so much as a county. I'm fighting for a common planning period so we can really sit down and scaffold our instruction. It just told me we got 10 minutes left, guys. Uh, sorry. But scaffold our instruction, especially for our team sports class, for our intro, intermediate, and advanced, so that we are able to get into those units. We also do longer units, break down the skill levels, and then set up a progression period to actually see where they are. I think that works well for us. And when they do dump in, like we just got like maybe 5 kids in our class last week, and the semester's almost over. So that'll also help us corral those students in that do start late. What teaching strategy did I learn that I want to implement? I really, to be honest with you, I really like the idea of learning how to develop a curriculum that has more structure. My goal is to push it out to the county so we can line it up with the high schools. Not that we necessarily have to be teaching everything the exact same way at the same time, but we do have a lot of movement with the kids from one school to the next to the next. So just to ensure that they're all getting those components and those standards across the board, that's one thing that I would definitely like to do. And I think that's also shifted my thinking about curriculum design. Like, based off of our resources that we have in our county, how can I make sure that each student is getting what they need at the various schools? And that would also be if I had to redesign a unit today, it would basically be that because our schools do have limited, but we're getting better providing supplies with our stipends that we get. It's not much, but it's enough to be able to run a successful program. So I'm gonna move into 3 because I don't want it to cut off. So we're at cycle 3. What advice would you give a first year PE teacher or a second year, Mr. Red? I would just tell you, if this is your passion and this is what you love to do, and I really think our biggest job is it's a calling for us. No, I just I don't I'm just really strong with that. All teaching period is a calling. And when I come in every day, the joy of coming to work is to work with my kids and make sure that they're able to translate information into real world connections. And then they're able to grow later on in life. What common curriculum mistakes should new teachers avoid? Uh, I have to say, tried and true thing, just rolling out the ball. I think structure is key for what we're trying to do to provide and also help those students understand the standards so that they're able to take them into their real world. What routines help stay consistent and organized. I think really that's the main thing, consistency, being there for those students. We're more than just teachers, we're mentors, we're uncles, we're aunts. where that family member, a lot of kids, especially in my school, they're going through things that I could never imagine that I would have to wake up, go to school, deal with, and then come back and deal with those things. So just staying consistent for them, because kids know if you're for them or if you're not. And once they understand that you are, you can get them to not literally run through walls, but they'll be more apt to learn. What should new teachers understand about student engagement? I think the fact that we're here is good, but students understand our engagement and they'll see your passion and your love for health and physical education, and then that'll resonate to them because they'll actually want to try to do it. And I try, if my body permits, I definitely try to get active with my students as well. So.
I would say my advice for the first year PE teacher. I mean, what you've got a dozen things that would be really important to tell them. But the first thing I think of is in your first year, really nail down your classroom management. Do all the research you can on classroom management, and come up with a daily routine, class routine that everybody does the same thing, up the same place where you start, the same place where you end, the same way that you call kids to attention, to listening, and maintain that structure for them in that classroom management. Because if you can maintain that, if you can figure out that, even with the very difficult kids, I have several classes that are just challenging and graying my hair fast, but having a routine that's consistent in classroom management is helpful. I would say the next thing is there's a Latin phrase called multus non multum. And so I'm at a Latin school and it means much, not many, meaning don't try to do all the things. Figure out a couple of things these first couple of years. Once you've nailed your classroom management, nail a few things that you can do really well and not try to spread yourself thin. You can build after that, but figure out what you know. What is your skill set now? You can learn new things, but work from your skill set and deliver it well. Get kids engaged in a way that that they find enjoyment. And I'd say with in engagement, I would say relationship. Anytime you can just build a relationship with a kid, it helps their engagement with correction. It helps their engagement with the activity, with behavior choices. What routines help you stay consistent and organized? I think I said that, just having the same starting point, same ending point, those types of structures within the routine of fitness, the unit, those types of things. And then kids, I never have to teach my kids what's expected in that manner again.
For me, and this, all of this advice is, I'm going to say, applies to myself. Like I said, this has been really eye-opening. So I was really thinking about it from, even though I've been teaching for a long time, kind of reflecting on myself and doing better myself, not just giving it somebody else advice. But I would say to when you're choosing curriculum, focus on the students and the standards. That's what I would say. Like with making sure the standards are important to the outcome, or what we're doing is important to the outcome. The standards are the outcome, not just that we have something to do that day. And then focus more on student choice and letting them have more voice into what we do and making it more meaningful is something that I would give advice for. I would avoid trying to avoid being stale, and doing the same things over and over and over again. And I would avoid, or I would, I'm sorry, the next one, what routines? I would say get into the routine of reflecting, consistently, and looking at yourself and seeing where you can improve and seeing, like you talked about, Tyler, making those notes and coming back to those notes later on and using those to do a better job as a teacher. And then about student engagement, I would say, again, I'm focusing on student choice. I'd like to focus on student choice more and making it more meaningful to them. Because, I read, there's one of the articles we read, I think it was a skateboarder article, or one of those, that unit, where one of the kids said, I would choose any student formed assignment or activity over the teacher activity. I think that's probably an exaggeration, but it kind of brought to the forefront the point of if it's meaningful to them, if it's something that they're interested in, if students have a choice, they're going to be that much more engaged.
All right, Mr. Rand, it's on you. What advice would you give yourself?
Two things like on my head right now. Number one, leave your personal issues at home. Like whatever mood you're in, if you're having a bad day, those kids, it reflects off them too. Like they can see it. Like whenever I'm in a bad mood or something's going on, they're like, "Coach, what's wrong?" Like they already know. So just leave it at home. Like it's your job. They come first. Number two, and I feel like this. So I'm about to start coaching in the spring. I'm about to coach baseball, and I just had an interview the other day, and I was talking to the coach, and he made a good point. He's like, build a relationship with those boys, right? He's like, that's the important thing. I think that's important with teaching. You're a mentor, you're a role model. They look up to you. So once you build that connection, whether it be like their hobbies, what they like, what's going on in their life, I feel like it's important to have one-on-ones with them because sometimes they think, oh, you're just calling them out or getting onto them. I pull them to the side and be like, hey, you know, I expect better from you. That's why, I got onto you and let's talk about it. And I've learned that the hard way with parents, they can take your words and twist them around. So it's important to talk to the kids, if something goes on before they turn and twist it around on you.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, especially PBI.